Along this quiet stretch of the River Trent, hidden behind the trees, is something mysterious and intriguing. Doorways, windows, rooms carved straight into the rock. For years, people thought this was just an 18th century rich man's folly, but in 2021, archaeologists took another look, and what they found completely rewrote the story.
In Anglo Saxon times, the River Trent marked the boundary between the kingdoms of Mercia and Northumbria. It was wild and it was remote. So if you wanted to disappear in the medieval world, this was a pretty good place to do it. And in 806 AD, someone did.
Northumbria was in chaos. Kings were being overthrown, murdered, or chased out every few years. King Eardwulf was the latest casualty, and he'd been kicked off the throne in a political coup. He'd already survived one assassination attempt, so when he finally lost the crown, he lost any guarantee of survival.
And then Eardwulf just disappears, gone from the chronicles. There's no battles, no exile abroad, just nothing. But later medieval writers mention a holy man called Hardulph, a man who lived somewhere near Ingleby in a cave. A man, they said, who had once been a king. Now, for centuries, historians rolled their eyes at this because it's hard to imagine a king living in a cave. But sometimes legends aren't as far-fetched as they sound.
This is Anchor Church Cave, but it's not a natural cave. Someone has designed this space with 3 rooms in total: a main living area, a smaller chamber that looks very much like a private chapel, and a side room, maybe for sleeping, maybe for storage. The doorways are tall and narrow, with straight sides and square tops in classic Anglo Saxon proportions. Tiny slit windows angled to catch the morning sun, and right in the middle a carved pillar dividing the space. This isn't Georgian workmanship, this is early medieval architecture, and that's just the beginning.
In 2021, a team from the Royal Agricultural University and Wessex Archaeology carried out a detailed survey here, and what they found was astonishing.
Tool marks that match medieval stone cutting, a layout identical to known Anglo-Saxon hermitages, and architectural features that simply don't appear in 18th century follies.
And their conclusion was that these caves were built in the 9th century, and they might be the oldest intact Anglo-Saxon domestic interior in Britain. And suddenly, the old story about a king living in a cave didn't seem quite so daft.
But King Eardwulf didn't just vanish into thin air. There are hints that he travelled south and maybe even sought support from Charlemagne's court. But after that, the records go quiet, until the name Hardulph appears in Mercian tradition. Local tradition talks about a holy man, Hardulph, living near Ingleby, a man of royal blood who was buried just a few miles from here. Breedon's Church still holds some of the finest Anglo-Saxon carvings in the country, and among its early records is the name Hardulph.
The name Hardulph appears exactly after King Eardwulf disappears from the records. He lived exactly where these caves are, and he's buried exactly where a former king would be honoured. More importantly, the name Hardulph is almost certainly a religious form of Eardwulf. It's the kind of name change that you see when a noble enters monastic life. So if Hardulph was King Eardwulf, then this place wasn't a hermitage, it was a royal hiding place.
What makes Anchor Church so special is how much of it survives. The benches carved into the walls, the niches for lamps or icons, the way the oratory window is positioned to catch the light. It's a snapshot of early medieval domestic life, something we almost never see. This is a real living space, carved by real hands and still here after more than 1,200 years. So what does this actually mean? Well, for a start, it means this place isn't the Georgian curiosity that people thought it was. It's far older and far more important.
The 2021 survey showed that Anchor Church isn't a folly. It's a purpose-built Anglo Saxon hermitage with the discoveries all pointing to the 9th century. And when you line that up with the local tradition of Saint Hardulph, the exiled King Eardwulf, the pieces fit remarkably well.
If the researchers are right, then these rooms give us something incredibly rare, a complete domestic interior from the Anglo Saxon period, a real living space carved by real hands and still here after more than 1,200 years.